Welcome, dear Thriver, to Thriver TV, where I love helping you not just survive, but truly heal and thrive from narcissistic abuse. Now, I don't just talk about relationships that are romantic in this community, because I know many of you in this community are also dealing with narcissistic family members. So today I want to talk to you about how you can work out whether or not to go no contact with this person. And of course, it's really normal to have the beliefs family are forever, blood is thicker than water, but is this really true? Is it right to let a family member abuse you? Is it noble to allow another person to hurt you because they are a family member? Or do you have the right to value yourself and say no more? Okay, I just want to jump into the deeper truth right from the start here by explaining something very important and powerful to you. And it relates to quantum law of so within, so without, meaning whatever you're being on the inside to yourself is what you're going to receive from the outside. It's a very powerful law. It's as absolute as gravity. And in regard to family and everything in your life, what it means is that if you honor your life, then life and others who have got the capacity and the desire to be honorable will honor you. So what does honoring your soul really mean? It means listening to your soul. How does your soul speak to you? Via your emotions. So the most correct action as a human being is to honor your soul, to honor everything and everyone. Because then not only are you honored by life and others, you are also honoring life and others in the most honorable ways. And I know you may believe that your obligation and your love of another is your duty, regardless of whether or not you're being abused by them. I really love something that I read years ago, and it's always stuck with me. Where Neil Donald Walsh said, "To allow another to abuse is an act of abuse in itself." I really want that to sink in. And think about this. If people detached from narcissists, including family members, empowered themselves and took the stand, I'm not going to interact with you unless you respect my values and my boundaries, narcissists would have no one to interact with. They wouldn't be able to play out their narcissistic behavior because they wouldn't be enabled to do what they do. And if you apply this truth to every person in your life, even including your own children, and actually especially your children, because these are the sort of boundaries we should all be having with them, you're granting these people in your life an opportunity to experience cause and effect. In other words, if I behave like this, well, I'm not going to have you interacting with me. And then they would have an opportunity to take responsibility for their behavior and actually change if they wanted to. Okay, so to make your life work, which is your highest responsibility, you have to honor yourself. And the most important aspect of all of this, regardless of what this person is or isn't doing, it means that you have taken the responsibility to change what you're doing. You now have taken a stand about the truth of your life, how you will live it. And in this stand, you're stating, if this works for you, in other words, if you want to be respectful and decent and a kind human being, then come and join me. And if this doesn't work for you, if you don't want to, then don't. So I want to help you understand the three choices that you have with family members, which are actually the three choices you have with anybody in your life who's hurting you. The first one is say and do nothing differently and continue on with the same trauma that you've been experiencing with this person. That's choice number one, which really isn't a great choice. And we're going to go into it deeper in a moment. Choice number two is do the inner healing work on yourself, which you can do with shifting out the traumas that this person triggers within you with Quantum Freedom Healing, which is the NARP program, so that you're less triggered, you can be more detached, and you're going to be able to experience modified contact with this person more comfortably. Or choice number three, which is state your boundaries, what you will and won't accept, mean them, and live them determinedly. And then if this person crosses the line and doesn't respect your boundary, then you go no contact. So they're actually your three choices. Now let's go more deeply into option number one, which is saying nothing and not laying boundaries. So this is coming, of course, from the normal human feelings of I don't want to rock the boat. You're probably trying to avoid issues with other family members who might judge you for taking a stand. And the thing is, if you're honest with yourself, I hope you understand that by doing the same thing and that hoping that you will get a different result is probably the definition of insanity, as we know. And it means that you're hoping for something else to change or somebody else to step in for you or that person to do something differently. And that's actually the definition of powerlessness, waiting for something outside of you to give you the change that you want to live, not feeling the emotional pain of what happens around this person. There's a very simple saying that's so powerful: nothing changes if nothing changes. And nothing is going to change in your life unless you change, because you're going to continue to be traumatized, abused, and be losing your soul to this narcissistic family member. And you're going to keep obsessing about what they do to you and feel awful about it. Or, maybe you might just try to stay away without actually saying or doing anything different. And the truth of that will be you are still going to have the guilt, the feelings of trauma, the abuse, the unrequited love, not receiving from this person what you would like to, and all the other deep wounds that come from this family member are going to continue to gurgle painfully within you without reprieve, even if you stay away. Okay, let's look at option number two, which means working on your internal triggers. Now, this is a great choice that you may try before going on to number three if you have to. And it means doing the inner work on what's triggered on within you. So it's a recognition I can't change you, but I can change how I feel about it. So this is composed of going within, self-partnering, and NARP's so powerful for this, and letting go of the painful emotions regarding what this person does or doesn't do to you. Maybe they abuse and ridicule you, or they invalidate you, and it's very painful. Maybe this person doesn't love you and acknowledge you the way you would love this family member to be with you. And you may feel really traumatized because of what you've missed out of from this person. So when you do that inner work, which is about loading up the traumas and releasing them and replacing them with true source and resetting yourself, what happens is you're going to fill with that love and that confidence and that wholeness and that solidness, and NARP takes you through these powerful shifts. And it can happen very quickly and powerfully. And then the pain of what they do or don't do is going to dissolve away. It'll recede a lot or even completely disappear. So it means that your expectations of this person are shifted. They're relieved. You're no longer trying to get something from this person that they don't have the desire or the capacity to give you, and it doesn't feel nearly as personal. And from this place, You can be around this person in a reduced relationship. You don't expect to have a close, intimate, meaningful, validated relationship because they're just not capable of it. And yes, this person may still be clumsy and lack a filter and even try to be abusive, but you may be able to just shrug it off. Doesn't impact you anymore. It's just their stuff. You know who you are. All right. Now, if this isn't an option because the abuse is too horrific, or you try it and you work with it and you come to the place where you realize that you can't keep your soul healthy around this person, then the next option, and really the only sane, empowered option, is number 3, which is laying boundaries and meaning it. Now, I want to share with you a story about a friend of mine. I've talked about it before, but it's such a good example. And she had a narcissistic father who was in a nursing home, and he was a train wreck. He was highly abusive. He was a gambler. He used to get money from her. He used to talk to her shockingly, invalidate her, abuse her, all sorts of things. And when she first started working with NARP, she had a lot of trauma. She was doing number 2. So she was, okay, well, I have an obligation. I have to go in and see him at the nursing home because, you know, I'm the only really responsible sibling who looks out for him. I've got to go see him and that. So anyway, she did step number 2. She did a lot of work on her inner traumas, a lot of letting go, a lot of wanting him to be a normal dad. She was able to rid herself of those feelings and longings, and she was able to fill with more of her own power and solidness and self-love from source. So she went into the nursing home and she was nowhere near as triggered, but he was still very abusive and really nasty and low blows and out of line. She realised she needed to go to step number 3. So what she did is she sent her dad an email, which, because he was on his phone gambling and he got the email. And this email was what she would accept and what she wouldn't accept. And he wrote her some cryptic rubbish back, taking zero responsibility, but it didn't matter because she had decided and stated what she would and what she wouldn't accept. And she'd said to him, if you do what I won't accept, if we're on the phone, I will hang up. If I'm in person, I'll walk out the door. I won't be around it. So anyway, she went and saw him. And of course, he played up. He couldn't help himself. She walked out the door. He reached out to her and he said, I'm missing you. So anyway, she rang him and he did it again. And she hung up on him again. Anyway, this went, and then she went through, and then he didn't contact her for a while, and she went through all this guilt, and he's old, and what's my brother and sister going to think of me? She had more work to do. She let go of the guilt. She let go of the fear. She did the NARP work on it. She did a lot of module 6 work, and she also did a lot of module 1 and source healing and resolution work with NARP to keep letting go of everything that arose, and she got more and more and more solid on it. What eventually happened was her father became trained like a small child or an animal, literally trained, that he could not act out around her because she would take herself away from it. And her siblings, 2 of her 3 siblings, caught on. They caught on and actually followed her lead and congratulated her for it. So now, she was very, very clear. This is the part about needing to lose it all to get it all. She was very, very, very clear that if you're abusive and you cannot respect me, I will not be around you. I will not be around you. So she was 100% prepared for no contact. So I really want you to know that I've worked with thousands of people over the last 10 plus years with this, with family members where they've thought, well, it's a family member, and sometimes it's even their own child. You know, what can I do? And of course, if your child is young and they're living with you, well, then you really need to practice what my friend did. But you know, if it's somebody who you're not living with, even if it is your own child, you really have to be prepared to lose it all, to get it all. And there have been people in our community with family members who have had to go no contact. But the thing is, please understand this. By you speaking up and laying a boundary, you're not saying, I'm never going to see you again. You're actually putting it back on them. You're saying, if you can be decent, of course I will. And if you can't, I won't. Can you see the difference? You're honoring yourself and you're inviting them to honor you. And if they don't, you have every sole right to say no more, no matter who this is in your life. Because there is no point drowning with somebody who is pulling you underwater and drowning you. You're not helping them, you're not helping yourself or your missions and who and what you love. You're not good in life if that's what's happening to you. All right, I really hope that this has sunk in, and I really want to encourage anybody, if you're hearing this and if this is relating to you, go and check out NARP, because there's so much in there to help you with family members, any narcissist in your life. The link's with this video. Remember to like and share this video with people that you know it can help. We all know people out there struggling with family members, especially coming into Christmas time. And until the next one, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.